The college football experience, Utah State Aggies 2022 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, presented by WynnBET. Bet $100 at WynnBET and get $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET to claim your free bet today.
Hey everybody, Jim McMahon here, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience, Utah State Aggies 2022 season preview episode. Whoa, the Mountain West champs. Yeah, give it up for what they've been doing there. We're going to talk more about that in a second. But if you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dad, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
Take me to Logan, baby. Mountain West champions. You know, I love with college football and college basketball, the Utah State Aggies have a great fan base. I love watching both their teams. Subscribe to the college football experience. Remember, we're also on YouTube. You can watch this one, youtube.com/the college experience. And college basketball fans, come on, get in there. The college basketball experience. Subscribe to that podcast, because it's us breaking it down. I know I'm solo right now, but we have a whole team talking Utah State football and basketball all the time. We've been doing this shit for years. So subscribe, tell a friend. But let's talk about this. Let's talk a little bit about, if you listened to us last year,
it's easy to see a tide turn.
Well, I didn't have them win in the Mountain West, but I was on the over, and I was on I loved the hire of Blake Anderson. So that came true. Now, I was not as bullish to call for them to win the Mountain West, but hey, that's what happens when you hire a great coach and you got a great culture. So this is the Utah State Aggies. All right, 2 undefeated seasons in their history. All right, 2 national championships as far as I'm concerned. And you look at their seasons of late. Since the year 2012, they have had 4 double-digit win seasons, including a Mountain West championship this past season. Getting it done. The first Gary Anderson era was good. The second was rough. The Matt Wells era was good. Killing it. I'm excited to talk Aggie football, because I do think they could have another fantastic season. They really could. Let's hop into it, shall we? Offense. The offense. You look at last season's stats. By the way, this team was fire on offense last year. All right, 33rd in scoring offense, 85th in rush offense, 13th in pass offense, charting at the 22nd best offense in the country. So year 1, Blake Anderson comes in and boom, getting it done. 11-3 in his first year at Utah State, 62-40 overall as a head football coach, and I think he's a fantastic coach. You break down the numbers, and I thought it was a good hire. He had really never had a losing season as a head coach. You look at his track record first. He played at Baylor and Sam Houston State, quarterback and wideout. This is a guy that coached under Rocky Long with the New Mexico Lobos in the late 90s, early 2000s. He's coached under Larry Fedora and Andy McCollum. So some winning culture there that he was surrounded with in his his steps to become a head football coach. But he became the head football coach of Arkansas State back in 2014, and his first 6 seasons they were a bowl team every year, had a winning record every single year, 7-6, 9-4, 8-5, 7-5, 8-5, 8-5. The COVID year they were 4-7, but they played with crazy scenarios. And they still beat Kansas State in Manhattan. Jonathan Adams had a game-winning touchdown there. If you watch the USFL, you know who Jonathan Adams is. That year they played with like 30 guys out, so I'm not even gonna that season never existed as far as I'm concerned. So in my opinion, he's never had a losing season as a head coach. 11-3 last year in year 1, and they win the Mountain West Championship. Fantastic in year 1. Now I know there was some close calls. All right, that Air Force game stands out as, to me, I don't know how Air Force lost that game, but they still won at Washington State. In Pullman, that's a great win for the program. They did beat Air Force 49-45. Boise handled them though, 27-3, and they lost by 14 to BYU. But they still grabbed wins. Now there were a lot of close wins. 4-point win at the Death Star in Vegas against UNLV. 2-point win against Steve Adazio in Colorado State, and then they got hot. And they started blowing teams out. They beat Hawaii by 20, New Mexico State by 22, San Jose State by 31. Now they did get their ass whooped at home to Wyoming, which is interesting because when you look at the physical teams gave them a hard time last year. All right, then they beat New Mexico in Albuquerque 35-10 by 25, and they beat San Diego State in Long Beach in Los Angeles in the Mountain West Championship. Now that, as much as I want to say Utah State, you won, you could only win the games on your schedule. They played San Diego State without like 20 guys. They had the COVID or contact tracing or whatever, and they could not play. So I just feel like I have to tell that. And then they beat Oregon State in the bowl game. It's still a fantastic season. But I will say, when you look at the physical teams, when I consider the physical teams, Air Force is one of them, and Air Force blew a big lead in the fourth quarter. They escaped by 4 against Air Force. Boise State's has kind of made a transition to the air raid, but I still think they're physical. They lose 27-3. BYU is the epitome of physical. They lose 34-20 right there. 3-win Colorado State team, Adazio's team's always physical. They only won by 2. And then Wyoming, they got housed by, and then they did beat San Diego State, who's a real physical team. But like I said, they had a bunch of players out. So you have an interesting situation going on. But you look at last season. I mean, the Logan Bonner transfer who came over from Arkansas State, he completed 61% of his passes, threw for 3,600 yards, 8.4 yards of completion, 36 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Calvin Tyler, the former Oregon State running back, was doing a fantastic job. He ran for 884 yards. He also, I mean, he was just a force. He had 7 scores, I believe, or 8 scores. And then the receivers, their receiving situation last year was just fire. Devin Thompkins had over 1,700 yards receiving. That's unheard of. Over 100 receptions. And then Brandon Bowling had 832 yards and 10 touchdowns. Derek Wright, their 3rd string wide receiver, had just about 800 yards and 11 touchdowns. And then you had Justin McGriff, who got some starts too. McGriff's the only one back from a season ago, so they lose 31 receiving touchdowns from a season ago just at their 3 wideouts. Let alone actually 33 if you add in their tight end situation. But I still think they're sitting back pretty good. Let's get into it here. Offensive coordinator is Anthony Tucker, and like I said, 22nd scoring offense in the country. Logan Bonner is back, which makes you wonder, hey, this guy's absolutely fantastic. You can make the case he's the best quarterback in the whole Mountain West. I know you got Bachmeier, I know you got Jake Haener, but I think probably in that mix for top quarterback in the conference. And I expect this offense to roll. Obviously, he has to build up some chemistry with the new wideouts. McGriff is back though, and he was good. Calvin Tyler is back at running back. Maybe you run a little bit more this year until you figure out the wide receiver situation, but I think the wide receiver situation is going to be fine because of the transfer portal. They are breaking in a redshirt freshman tight end in Brock Lane, and they have 4 of 5 back on the offensive line. That's great. Really, I think the offense will keep rolling. I don't know that they'll have as good as wide receiver play, but you could argue that they might. Defensively, well, first off, yeah. Defensively, they were decent last year. They need to get better though. 48th in scoring defense. That's good. 84th in rush defense, 70th in pass defense, charting at 77th in total defense. So can they get on the top half of college football? They were close. Can they improve? They only have 1 starter back on the D line, but they bring in some transfers. This is a team that hit the transfer portal heavy. Just 1 starter back in the linebacking core and AJ Vongpachanan. 2 starters back in the secondary, led by Michael Aniwanu at corner, and then they have the Michigan transfer Hunter Reynolds at safety. Their kicker and punter are back. They got a lot. They got a lot of good going for them. But let's talk. Transfer portal. We're going to talk transfer portal. We're going to talk what we expect from the Aggies this year. We're going to talk about what Las Vegas expects from them. We're going to go game by game on the schedule, talking Utah State Aggies football. Man, they have one of the better stadiums. I love their stadium setup, that view. Great things. I'm so glad it's not a dome. I love the outdoor aspect of that. Always great football weather in Logan. We're going to talk all that though and more, but first I got to get us paid. I want to tell you that the college football experience, Utah State Aggies 2022 season preview episodes brought to you by WinBet. Bet $100 at WinBet and get $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. We're also brought to you by the college experience. Yes, get ready for the college football season by checking out all 131 college football team previews. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFB. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFB. We're also brought to you by Odds Trader. Odds Trader is the place to compare odds from all the major sports books. You can also compare the different sign-up codes, different promo codes to assure that you get the best deal possible. And the app is fantastic. It provides player stats, key game stats, injury reports, projected game day weather for bettors who make the most informed bets possible. It also has a bet tracker, because if you're like me and you're betting in like 5 different sports come like November, sometimes you can get a little unorganized. This thing organizes it for you. Go to oddstrader.com/Blue Wire. OddsTrader, the #1 site for all your game day bets. We're also brought to you by Run Your Pool. Run Your Pool is the home of competition, bringing sports fans in their social circles together to compete, connect, and make every game matter more. Run Your Pool offers, every game you could think of, from Pick'em, Survivor, fantasy pools, all that good stuff. And we've teamed up with Run Your Pool because we're hosting our own SGPN NFL Survivor contest, which is free to enter, folks. Hop in now to reserve your spot because we're giving away $500 cash and a $250 gift card to the SGPN merch store. Hop in now. Sign up today at play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. That's play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. All right, we are back talking Aggie football, and I am excited to talk. I mean, this is I think one of the teams. Can they repeat their that whole Mountain Division? Is, I mean, really the whole Mountain West. I think they're ditching divisions next year. But that should be a bundle of fun. It's always one of the more underrated conferences. And I saw the Mountain West repping that they have 5 teams ranked in the top 45. So this conference, I think, criminally slept on. I've always felt like there was a bias, an East Coast bias to college football. I actually think the Pac-12 and the Mountain West are way better than what people think. I think the Mountain West has been better than the AAC several times. So, it's going to be interesting to watch. When I think about what is going on now, I do expect Hawaii and Nevada's in transitional years, right? I don't expect much from them this season, but I mean, Fresno, I think, is a very good team. I think Utah State's a very good team. I think Boise State's going to be, I mean, last year 7-5, but those losses were barely. I think they're a very good team. I think San Jose State is going to be better, going to be a lot better. I think San Diego State is a very good team. I think Air Force is a very good team. So you have all that, and then Jay Norvell is a fantastic coach. He leaves from Nevada, goes to Colorado State. I think he walks into a good situation, and I think they might be a bowl team this year, might be a surprise team. And then you have Rocky Long back at New Mexico with Danny Gonzalez as the head coach, but I expect them to continue to get off the ground. And then you kind of have UNLV, which I don't know what to think. They're bringing in more talent than they've had recently, but who knows? They could be. They showed some signs of life late last year, but I love the Mountain West. I think they're a fantastic football conference. Love watching them each and every week. Wish they played a little more weekday games. I feel like years past they played a little bit more, but even if so, they should play more of them. Here we are. The transfer portal is crazy in college football in 2022. Unless you're a service academy, it's or Kirk Ferentz or Dabo Swinney, then it's absolutely crazy. But look what they did here. They brought in Levi Williams, the starting quarterback of Wyoming. Wyoming waxed Utah State in Logan last year, and they said, "Hey, we're going to take your starting quarterback and bring him down to Logan." Fascinating. He's not going to start. Why would you leave Wyoming for Utah State? In a way, it was like a trade because Utah State's backup quarterback, who started some games previously the year before, Andrew Peasley, he went to Wyoming. I don't know. It's wild. But Levi Williams is a dual threat quarterback, comes down to Logan, and I know his girlfriend is a volleyball player for the Aggies at Utah State. So perhaps
the only thing on my mind, Gene, was pussy.
Maybe that's the real reasoning. I don't know. But he comes in. That's a great get for depth, even though you lose Peasley. I don't know. Call it a wash. They do go out and get. I mean, we mentioned they lost I think 33 receiving touchdowns from a season ago. They returned McGriff, who I think will be a starter. He started some games last year. They go out and they get Xavier Williams from Alabama. It's a big time get, and they open the season in Tuscaloosa. So they go out and get one of Alabama's wideouts, which they have to be unbelievably talented to play at Alabama. Then they get Brian Cobbs from the Maryland Terrapins, and let me tell you, Maryland's got one of the best receiving corps in the nation. So getting a guy who has over 800 yards receiving with the Terps, I think that he's probably really good. That receiving corps is incredible over there. So I think they did a fantastic job bringing in some guys that can really help. I even like the Terrell Vaughn get too. What is he? It was a JUCO, I believe. So that's the receiving corps. I think they kind of did. I don't know that it'll be as good as last year, but I think it will be very good. They go out and they get defensive lineman John Ward from UCLA, which they need help on the defensive line, and they get Daniel Griesiak. Now, Griesiak was a great get because he started at Nevada. And he was actually pretty efficient at Nevada. So he's going to be starting day one, I think, in Logan. Maybe Ward will be able to contribute as well. They get offensive tackle Cade Parrish from BYU, which I think is a great get for depth on the offensive line. They brought in safety Anthony Switzer from Arkansas State. Anderson used to coach at Arkansas State. This was gonna be a great get, and I think it's gonna be. However, he tore his ACL in the spring game, so he's out for the season. That hurts. But they also brought in safety Gurvan Hall from the Miami Hurricane. He's going to be a starter. They brought in linebacker MJ Tafisi from the Washington Huskies. He's going to be a starter. So not only they're getting these guys, they're getting guys that are going to start. So I think they did an unbelievable job in the portal. They also got running back Jordan Wilmore from the Utah Utes, and I guess Utah via Fresno State. And they got Jamie Nance, who was a Nebraska transfer at wideout. They've moved him to corner. He's going to play corner in Logan. But overall, landing those players was pretty. They got some very key pieces there. With I mean, how many of those are projected starters right there? That's a decent amount. I feel like 80% of them are starters that are going to make a difference right away. So I do think right there you would say man, they brought in some guys. So keep an eye on what they brought in, and perhaps if you play DFS, we do a DFS show every single week on the College Football Experience, sometimes multiple times a week. So check out that. But I got to talk about what they lost too, because they lost a starting cornerback from a season ago, or a guy that got some starts, Monty McGarry. He went to Lance Leipold and the Kansas Jayhawks, and he went late June. They lost tight end Troy De La Vega to the portal. They lost kicker Joey Rowley to the portal. They lost linebacker Jamison Willingham to Portland State, the Vikings. They lost defensive lineman James Hansen to the portal. Wide receiver Tim Patrick to the portal. Cornerback Sean Gates to the portal. A lot of these guys weren't starters. They were pretty far on the depth chart, but cornerback Keith Harris to the portal. This one hurts here. Cam Lampkin, a corner that got some reps, went to Washington State. Running back Enoch Noahine, he's in the portal. Safety Patrick Maddox is in the portal. Running back Elon Noah is in the portal, and he actually got some reps last year too. So it's interesting. We'll have to find out where he landed. But quarterback Andrew Peasley, I alluded to earlier, had some success. He went to Wyoming. Linebacker Simon Thompson, portal. A long snapper Jesse Vasquez, portal. They lost cornerback Zahodri Jackson to North Texas, so they got hit at cornerback pretty tough this season, or this offseason. They lost D end Mata Hola to the portal, and I mean, so when you really look at it, I think there's a couple other. There's one more guy, offensive tackle to the portal too. Actually, no, that was late last season. So they took some hits as well. I still think they won the portal. Getting MJT Afisi, getting Hall, getting the D lineman from Nevada, the wideout Xavier Williams. I understand they lose Switzer. He's out for the year, but I still think that's a good get because he's going to be back next year. Cade Parrish and his experience on the offensive line, that's a good get. John Ward, we'll see, the kid from UCLA. Now they did take some hits at corner though, and that's going to be something to follow because I think they're thin at that position. So we're going to have to watch that as the season prolongs. But obviously getting Cobbs and those wideouts and stuff, they should be. I think they won the transfer portal. They definitely won the transfer portal in my opinion. So now let's get to the schedule. But before we get to the schedule, folks, I got to get us paid one more time. I want to tell you that the College Football Experience, Utah State Aggies college football season previews brought to you by Sleeper. Sleeper is the fastest growing fantasy platform today with millions of players. You probably already have a fantasy league on there. I know I do. They just passed 4 million different users. And with the NFL season right around the corner, Sleeper is the first sports contest game built into the fantasy experience. So right now on your mobile phone, join our listener group over at sleeper.com/SGP. That's sleeper.com/SGP. And they will automatically match your first deposit up to $100 at sleeper.com/SGP. They have this fantastic over under game where you can play the over unders on 2 or more players based on their stat projections, and you can win anywhere from 2 times to over 20 times the amount of money you put in. It's fantastic. Check it out. We're also brought to you by Trade Coffee. Yes, Trade Coffee connects customers to the freshest and best tasting coffee they've ever made at home by partnering with the country's best craft roasters. These are independent businesses from big cities and small towns, folks. I mean, Trade customers are truly impactful for the independent roasters, often being the largest source of new growth for them, and it's expert tasted. Yes, Trade's coffee team actually taste tests thousands of coffees. They keep over 450 different kinds alive and ready to ship out to you every day. There's no one perfect coffee, but there is a perfect coffee for you, and Trade's human-powered algorithm is going to find it for you. So right now, Trade is offering new subscribers a total of $30 off your first order plus free shipping when you go to drinktrade.com/SGP. That's more than 40 cups of coffee for free, people. Get started today by taking their quiz at drinktrade.com/SGP and let Trade find you a coffee you'll love. We're also brought to you by Dave. Yes, Dave is the banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. That's more money to fill your tank. That's more money to buy a wedding gift. That's more money to hit Aggies football and basketball games this winter. Because let's be honest, we've all been in a jam where you need some cash. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, all different things can happen in life. You could break your foot and have medical issues. You're uninsured. All of a sudden, they're just giving you a ton of shit. You got to pay more money. You could all of a sudden, start dating somebody, and you're just going out spending more money than you think. Anything, your car, need an oil change or something. You forgot to get the oil change, engine blew, got in a car crash. Insurance isn't covering you. I don't know the situation, but I can tell you this: we've all been in jams where we needed cash, and it's always weird. You got to ask a friend, you got to ask a brother, a sister, a mom, a dad. Hey, can you help me out of this? It's kind of embarrassing. Well, you know what can get you out of that? Dave, yes, download the Dave app from the App Store right now and sign up for an extra cash account. You'll get up to $500 instantly. That's DAVE. And get this, there's no interest, there's no credit check. I'm telling you, sign up, get that $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking by Evolve, member of the FDIC. All right, we're back talking Ute football. No, not Ute football. Jeez, Utah State football. I apologize. I know you fan base, the Aggie fans are not going to like that. They need to schedule that game more, though. Can we talk about that? Okay, here's things I want, and you can't let we can't let these powers, these TV execs, call the shots, because they're going to be ruining college sports if they do this. I want Utah State play Utah every year, BYU every year, Weber State as often as you can get, maybe every other year, since you can only have a certain amount of non-conference games. I like those matchups. Give me that. All right, please. I liked it last year when you went to play in Pullman against Wazoo. That seems like that part of the region out of conference. I wouldn't mind scheduling in a Montana State. Keep that rotation going. I wouldn't mind the Colorado Buffaloes on the schedule occasionally, not consistently. Consistently, I want this. Consistently, BYU, Utah, Weber State. Let's have some fun, people. Week 0, right around the corner. Well, first off, if you're watching on YouTube, you see the sweet ass graphic. 7 wins is the win total. This team, what? I mean, they destroyed this last year. And by the way, their win total last year was like 4 or something, and I hit the over. I mean, looking like a champ early on. This one seems low right off the top of my head. All right, now week 0, they are hosting at Maverick Stadium. Great name for a stadium too.
This is Jim Mora, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
That's our friend Jim Mora Jr., brand new head coach with the Utah State Aggies. I'm sorry, with the UConn Huskies. Gosh, I need my coffee right now. They're coming into Maverick Stadium. UConn, it's a project. We want to root for UConn. They're not winning this game. Maybe 5 years down the road if they play, maybe. So Utah State want to know. They need that tune-up game too. I think that's a big-time tune-up game because they go to Bryant Denny to take on Alabama and Bryce Young and Will Anderson and so on, Jahmyr Gibbs, so on. You're going to lose that game. I think fans know this. Then comes a pivotal game, in my opinion, and one of those games I talked about. They host Weber State. They need to watch out because there's this record. I wish I had this pulled up for teams that have played Alabama the week after. Because normally when you play Alabama, it's one of those ones where, ouch, your body doesn't feel good the next week. And there's some stat that's been going around for like the past 20 years about teams the week after playing Alabama losing. And I forget the win percentage, but Utah State needs to pay attention to that because I can tell you Weber State keeps a good football program. And they have 9 days of rest because they're playing a Thursday game for week 1, taking on Western Oregon. So watch out. Because Weber State is a FCS blue blood, in my opinion. They're right there in the playoffs. I feel like most years. Watch out. But I love this game. I love watching this one. I'll be honest. I like watching Weber State, Utah State much more than watching Alabama, Utah State, or UConn, Utah State. So sign me up for that one. I got them 2-1, but they need to watch out. Telling you, watch out there. So 2-1, they get a bye week. And then they host the UNLV Running Rebels. Traditionally, you'd probably like this game to be later in the year. UNLV, they play in Vegas. It's a desert. They play in that fucking dome. They're not used to the elements, the weather. I think it's not going to be cold yet at this point. However, I think they're better than UNLV. I got them 3-1 through the month of November, or I'm sorry, September. Man, what the fuck is wrong with me today? Anyway, then they get a Thursday night game, short week. They travel to Lavelle Edwards Stadium. I don't think they're going to beat BYU. BYU is loaded. Jaron Hall's back, but you never know what you could catch. I know BYU is what they have the Notre Dame game on deck, so maybe it's a look ahead spot. Maybe. I mean, it was only a 14-point game last year, but it is in Lavelle Edwards Stadium. That place is going to be lit. I got that as a loss, so I got them 3-2 through the month of September because they play the week 0 game. Then they're home to Air Force, and I think this is my Sling TV game of the season right here. It's college football season, which means you need the unbeatable coverage of Sling TV starting at $35 a month. Sling has all the big games on the biggest channels like ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN3, SEC Network, ACC Network, Fox, and the Big Ten Network, all for the best price. You could stream on any device, record up to 50 hours with DVR space. You could pause or change your service at any time. Check out sling.com for special offers. Sling, the live TV you love for a price you'll love. Try us today. This is my Sling game of the season because last year this game was bananas. I watched this game in Colorado Springs last year and it was absolutely bananas. I think Air Force had a late fumble. Utah State battled back from double digits and somehow found a way to win the game. The triple option can be a thorn in the side. Go ask Chris Peterson when he was at Boise. Ask Brian Harsin. It was a pain in the ass. It's always a pain in the ass, I feel like, for Boise State to deal with Air Force. In my opinion, it is very hard for finesse teams, which I think Utah State has a certain level of finesse to them. They like to pass the ball around. They're not used to this. And if you don't get a bye week, going from BYU to Air Force is fucking brutal. And that's why I have the Air Force Falcons grabbing that win there. I think they get revenge. I think Troy Calhoun's been wanting this one. So I got you now at what 1, 2, 3. I got you at 3-3, and then you're in Fort Collins taking on Colorado State. I think you win that one. Give me 4-3. That should be a fun one though. Jay Norvell, Matt Mummy, son of Howe at the OC, Clay Millen coming in at quarterback. Then they head down to or they back-to-back away. They head up to Laramie to take on Wyoming, where Wyoming kicked the tar out of them last year. But like I said, Levi Williams now a backup at Utah State, and Utah State's backup Andrew Peasley is the starting quarterback of Wyoming. I'm going to say this: you're going to go 1-1 through this stretch. So I got you 4-4 through the second bye week. You get 2 bye weeks. That's the benefit of playing week 0. So 4-4, and you have 4 games left. Can you hit that over? You're home to New Mexico. I think that's a win. 5-4 at Hawaii. They're a project. Shout out to Timmy Chang. I hope it works out. I don't see them winning that game. 6-4 home to San Jose State. This is a huge game. Absolutely huge game. Chevin Cordiero transfers in from Hawaii to San Jose State. I have a slight lean towards Utah State here, but I do think it's kind of a 50-50 game. But Utah State smacked them last year. I know the Spartans were dinged up a bit, but still, give me that one. And what are we at right there? 7, the magical number, the same number that Vegas sees. And then they travel to the Smurf turf day after Thanksgiving to take on Boise State. I don't got them winning that one. So I got them 7-5. But here's the problem. I'm right on the number. I feel like we got to pick something here, but hold on. I also want to see what we can do juice wise to tell you where Vegas is leaning on this. So Vegas is actually leaning on the over. It's plus 100 towards the over, minus 120 towards the under. So my 50-50 game. So it's 7. So could they theoretically beat Air Force in Logan? Yes. Could they sweep Colorado State and Wyoming on the road? Yes. But I also think they could lose. I actually lean, to tell you the truth, I think I lean under here. I think 7's the right number, but I think Colorado State and Wyoming, one of them will get Utah State. I also think it's possible that both of them get it. And then the San Jose State game is a bit of a question mark for me. Obviously, Utah State could also beat Air Force, but I just feel like it's a tough schedule. They do avoid San Diego State and Fresno State, which you have to love. They get what? UNLV, Hawaii, and San Jose State from the West. That is a fantastic schedule. They do have Bama though and BYU out of conference, and Weber State. Watch out for that game too. I think they're going to go 7-5. 7-5 is what I would think would happen there. But if I had to lean anywhere, I would lean under 6-6. I think this team's still much better than 6-6, but I think it's probably more likely than 8-4 for me, considering that Bama and at BYU, that's 2 losses. Can you go through the rest of your schedule with only 2 losses? You play on the Smurf turf. You play in War Memorial. You play in Fort Collins. I don't know. Must watch TV every week for me though. I'm rooting for them. I hope I'm wrong here because I'm not locking this up by any means. Give me the under on Utah State. I cannot wait to watch this season though. Starts next week. We got you covered for that UConn game. So check us out with our week 0 picks coming on in a few days. Folks, subscribe to the College Football Experience. Also, remember, check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/the College Experience. And remember, we're already doing college basketball previews. We got right around the corner. The Utah State Aggies preview will be out. Check it out. Subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. Also, the Sports Gambling Podcast. All right. They already did 32 episodes on every NFL team. So if you're a Broncos fan, if you're a Raiders fan, I don't know who your team is. If you're a Seahawks fan, Niners, I don't know, but check it out. They go through the win totals, the over, the under, players they like. You have to check it out. Check out the NFL Gambling Podcast as well. Other things going on right now, MLB. Check out the MLB Gambling Podcast. The Canadian Football League is happening in the summer. Check out the CFL Gambling Podcast. You into golf? Check out the Golf Gambling Podcast. We have just so many MMA gambling podcasts. Just if you get the SGPN app, you'll have access to all of that. Or what you could do is hop in the Discord. That's one of my favorite things to do. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. No matter the sport, whatever your sport is, I'm serious. Like whatever you're like, if you're into soccer, we got the World Cup coming. Yes, we have the soccer gambling podcast and the MLS gambling podcast, but just come in and chat, talk about the games, whatever. If you're into, if you're a fan of Utah State football, basketball, baseball, hop in there. I'm telling you, it's well worth it. And it's a lot of fun to just sweat out bets or just talk sports, even if you're not betting on the games. Check it out. I think you'll dig it. And folks, give us a follow on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. That is the College Football Experience Twitter account. If you give us a 5-star review on iTunes, we'd certainly appreciate that. And we'll enter you in a raffle, a rigged raffle, a David Stern-like raffle where you are guaranteed to win a gift card to our merch store at some point. All right. So go over to iTunes. It takes 1 minute out of your day. Give us a 5-star review. We'd certainly appreciate it. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. And looking forward to the season. Week 0, UConn Huskies, Maverick Stadium. I cannot wait. This is the College Football Experience, Utah State Aggie style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.